Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to teach your kids the value of money. Money is something that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, and it's important to prepare the next generation for success. As the saying goes, more money, more problems. Unfortunately, for most Americans, the reality is no money and more problems. Financial literacy or money management skills are not taught in schools. A lot of parents do not teach their kids how to manage money either. So, due to the lack of knowledge about money, this cycle continues throughout generations. As we all know, kids learn more through our actions than anything else, which means we have to ask ourselves if our own financial matters are in order. I want to discuss some fundamentals we should consider going over with our kids. Okay? Number one, we need to emphasize to our kids that they have to work hard, of course. But ultimately, the risk comes from Allah. Whatever is meant for us is already written. So we should always say Alhamdulillah for what Allah provides. Number two, for every penny earned, they should make sure it's a halal source of income. Otherwise, you can have $1 trillion, but there's no khair in the money. And in the end, they will be held accountable. Number three, sometimes kids tend to go for careers that deal with haram or riba. We should go over what are the appropriate careers which do not involve any haram from an early stage so kids are able to focus in the right direction, right? Number four, we should also encourage our kids to give a portion of their earnings or allowance with the proper intention, which of course is for the sake of Allah. They should be taught early on that anything they earn is from Allah in the first place, so they should give back to those who are in need. Now, of course, these points are the fundamentals that all of us should inculcate into our children's upbringing. Once the fundamentals of money are established, we can move on to building the wealth aspect. The same laws of building a house are relevant to approaching money. Only if you have a strong foundation, you can build a house on it, right? It's interesting. My major in college was psychology, and I like to analyze the different parenting techniques people use. I want to highlight some pros and cons I noticed about kids and financial education. Most parents, they struggle in this area between balancing giving their kids too much or too little. There are some parents who may be immigrants to this country and they had limited access to materials growing up. So they feel the need to overcompensate with their kids for all the things that they did not have growing up themselves. Of course, they have the best intentions for their kids, like all parents do. However, it's often too late by the time that they realize that their kids are spoiled, and giving them too much actually was not good for them. On the other hand, there are those who have the means to help their kids with education or getting married. However, they tell their kids they should wait to get married until they're financially ready, which of course makes sense, but the expectations sometimes aren't necessarily always reasonable. They'll be like, you need a PhD, a large amount of savings, two cars, a large house in the finest suburbs, and of course, be ready to throw a lavish wedding on top of all of that. Now, your kid realizes by the time that they achieve all these unreasonable expectations, they'll be around the age for retirement, let alone marriage. So, this is how many young people tend to fall into zina. The scholars have been warning against this, but of course, that's a whole separate topic. Meanwhile, the only requirement Allah Azza wa Jal has for marriage is the proper intention, and you're pretty much ready to go. You're ready to get married. So, based on these societal pressures and expectations, I myself, back when I was, looking to get married, I was doubting if I was prepared to get married. And Alhamdulillah, I had good company which advised me. They told me that if I wait until I feel like I'm 100% ready, well, that will never happen. And I realized as I got married and I made the intention to complete half my deen, Allah's provisions came pouring after that. Alhamdulillah. Another common scenario I can't help but mention, which is common in our community, It's not limited to just this group, but typically this next issue applies to parents from developing countries, from Asia, Middle East, and Africa. It's parents who force their kids to become doctors. We all know about this one. Parents really want their kids to become doctors, and they have good intentions. They want their kids to earn well. They want them to have job security, prestige, and whatever else comes with that title. So they place a huge emphasis on this, especially based on the circumstances, where they come from, where opportunities and resources were very limited. Now, again, every parent wants what's best for their kids. But a lot of kids struggle to make their parents happy in this regard. It's not necessarily practical, to go to school for 16 years, rack up over a $500,000 in debt, depending on which specialty you're going to, spend half your life studying medicine. That's a tough pill to swallow for many kids who want to make their parents proud but absolutely have no interest in medicine. I mean, just imagine if Steve Jobs, right, was forced to become a doctor. He wouldn't be one of the best inventors in recent history. Now, parents, imagine for a moment if Michael Jordan was forced to become a doctor. We would lose out on an all star, a sports legend. Can you imagine Jordan sticking his tongue out in surgery? I mean, you wouldn't even see his tongue behind his face mask. How sad would that be? But anyways, joking aside, it's good to want financial success for our kids. However, the way we guide them has to make sense. That means identifying your kids' strengths and their interests, and then encouraging them to develop those skills which they can apply to a relevant field of study, right? Whatever it may be. So it's important to teach our kids the value of money at an early age, like I said. And here are a few points to consider. Number one, we need to teach our kids that they need to earn stuff in life, and they shouldn't expect that everything will be given to them, right? This way they don't become entitled brats. Number two, we need to teach our kids how to budget. They need to live within their means. And number three, kids need to be taught the importance of giving at an early age, right? So those are three important points to consider. So before I end, I want to emphasize my point. And the point is that our kids should understand that money is not everything. Of course, we all know that. We should not be worried about, keeping up with the Joneses or the Ahmeds. We need to tell them to always look at those who have less than us, and not more than us. We should encourage them to be more generous, to those who are in need, and be thankful to Allah for what He has provided us. The point of this video is to remind ourselves that kids should be taught money management skills so they develop good habits early on and always live within their means, inshallah ta'ala. So hopefully this information was helpful. If you did find it helpful, I'd appreciate if you hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, so inshallah we can get this information out to as many people as possible so they can also benefit. Jazakumullah khair, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.